Bet you're surprised to see me. Today I wanted to do a little walk and talk and talk about the state of things, show you guys some of the projects, where they're at, potentially what could come next, and see what you guys think. I'd love to know your feedback on some of this stuff, but tell you guys what's going on in my life, why you haven't seen me in a little while, and yeah, we'll go from there. It's a weird snowy day out here today in West Michigan, and yesterday it was like 70 degrees, now it's like 20. Pretty weird. Some records were broken, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm walking around outside here to take a look at some of these projects, show you guys, and talk a little bit about what's going on with me. I became a dad for the first time, and what that means is that's what I'm spending all my time on, or at least all the time that I have outside of work. So I haven't been getting much done as far as YouTube goes, but I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop here. Appreciate you guys all sticking around, following along, engaging with me. I really enjoy it. Let's start out here in the lean-to, and speaking of which, the middle part fell down on me. We had a lot of snow. The snow came off the big roof, I'm assuming, up there, and hit this section and went kaboom. It sounded like a cat was getting mauled out here, but I went outside and realized what happened. Let's look under the lean-to. The lean-to is a project unplanned, but you know how these things go. Let's see what we got under here. It's a 1930 Model A, rolling chassis, motor, drivetrain, everything. I bought it, no body on it. This is maybe 5 years ago, so I've had this thing, I've been dragging it with me wherever I go. And I stuck it under the lean-to when we moved in here. And I've got a 1923 Willys touring car tub cut in half, vice gripped to the frame. And my plan for it is pre-war Depression era, maybe pre-Depression era, hot rod, Gow Job, jalopy, whatever you want to call it. Keep it as traditional as possible. Paint it all black with a paintbrush kind of thing and make it work. My goal with this is just to be able to tool up and down the dirt roads and have some fun, make some cool videos. So let me know if that's something you guys be interested in seeing. Probably gonna end up seeing some work done on this thing, on this channel. Right here we're looking at the beloved 1972 John Deere 400 Snowmobile. And if you guys been paying attention around here, I did a revival that I didn't know I was gonna have to do video. You guys seem to like that one, so you might see some more sled stuff happening around here. But this thing, it runs, it moves, it needs some tuning, air-fuel ratio stuff, carburetor jetting. I stuck a Mikuni on it. I might get into more detail in a video on how I did that and what parts I used. And it works. It got stuck there. We had a lot of snow, probably more than this thing should have been in. And yeah, I just gotta wheel it around the yard or get it back in the barn and get some more work done on it. But my short-term goal, number one goal, is I want to ride this thing to the local bar and get a beer and ride back. It's like a 4-mile one-way trip, and should be a fun little video for you guys. And directly behind me we have my, I forget even how long it is, I don't know, 14-foot tandem axle car trailer. It's in desperate need of some fenders, and I'd like to pull the aluminum diamond plate off of the deck and see what's under there. It's just wood, but maybe it needs new wood. I don't know, the trailer needs to be spruced up, so it's on my list. Potential project video ideas. Clean this thing up, put a tongue box on it, put a winch on it more permanently. I have a setup that I can show you guys later. Potential idea there with the trailer. That brings us around to the VAC, the case tractor you see behind me. This thing's got a few issues. I use it to plow in the winter. It worked, did the job better than shoveling. There's a video you guys can see where I did that. I went to move it to make room in the barn for something I'll show you in a minute. And the gas tank was empty, so I put gas in it. And there's a pinhole leak right in the bottom of the tank. So the tank's probably gonna have to get sealed. The other thing with this thing is it started turning the oil into a milkshake. It looked like a peanut butter milkshake, and I suspect it's got a bad head gasket, maybe a crack block, I don't know. But it was dropping coolant level, the oil was turning milky. I did a quick change before I plowed a couple times this winter, and I just used it because I had to clear the driveway. But head gasket video on the VAC, anyone? You tell me, put it in the comments below. The other potential related video to that is a log splitter that I picked up shortly after I moved in here. Bought it, it was somebody's homemade deal. Some friends of mine told me they used a tractor axle to make this thing, and this dude's grandpa built it, and looks like he built it real quick, but supposedly it works. I didn't have a way to test it. Everything seems to move free, but I had a couple hydraulic hoses that needed to be replaced. Got those replaced, and I need to change some fittings on the back of the tractor to make that work. But the VAC has a live hydraulic system that should run this thing, and then I can chop up some trees. There's a bunch of dead trees out in my woods that need to be cut up, and then I can burn them in the wood stove next year in the barn, next winter. Okay, let's move this show inside. Oh, this is where things get unsightly. I've got some junk in here, and it's a mess. But I'm going to show you anyways, because it's what I got. So, let's start in the corner, shall we? Alright, let's talk a little bit about this Go-Kart. The low buck Go-Kart, as I called the video. I still have plans for this thing. They're not as big as I once wished I could have done. Some things just aren't practical. I just want to make this Go-Kart practical to use. Every time I tried to let off the gas, the chain would fly off. And I found some flaws in the vehicle that need to be refined and tightened up and things like that. But I think the main thing I want to do is swap the carb on the brakes. I'd like to find a flywheel for this thing that I can use to take the governor off and let it rev without threatening to like saw my back if it comes apart. And the other thing I want to do is throw a torque converter on. Super budget, cheap stuff. This is the low buck Go-Kart. I'm thinking like less than, I don't know, I said less than 200 bucks in the last video, 250. Throw a cheap torque converter on it and cheap carb and see where we're at. Now let's talk about the Polaris Sportsman. The thing that basically motivated me to start making videos. I rebuilt the engine on it. Well, I rebuilt the top end, replaced the piston cylinder, head gasket, head bolts, all that good stuff. There's a video series, a playlist that I'll put up in the corner. Check it out. It's like my first YouTube video is in that playlist. So. Hey guys, this is John from Outside Media. That's what I'm calling this thing. I've never done anything like this before. Currently on this thing, I replaced the brake hose to the left front caliper. I have a video like halfway made on this, so this is a little bit of a sneak peek. But I'm having a heck of a time bleeding the brakes. I just kind of let it sit to try and let the air work out, and life happened. I found the ball joints were about ready to fall out, so got some ball joints for this thing. And then my plan is to button it up do a nice video, rip it off-road a little bit, and call it a project done. Well, I suppose we can talk about the Puma. You guys really gave it the beans on that video. Still people viewing that thing, and I really appreciate that. That's been like the video that keeps on giving. Not that I'm making any money from this stuff yet, but you know, helps me figure out what you guys like to see. Snowmobile stuff, apparently. There might be more of that coming down the line. Might have a couple sleds I can do revivals on. Anyway, the Puma runs, rides. Yeah, a couple videos on that. Most recent videos I've done showing that and me messing around with some different camera stuff. And it has like this thing where it cuts out, and I've had a couple of you guys give me some feedback on that, and I appreciate it. And I'm thinking it's got something to do with like the throttle switch or the kill switch, because it's like hard cut of ignition when it cuts out. But I'd like to take this thing up to the bar, maybe have somebody chase me on Old John on the Puma and call it the same video. So that's where we're at with the Puma. On the floor back there, I've got pieces to an old hammock frame, a bunch of Harbor Freight wheels, a bar stool, and a Honda 196cc engine. You guys want to see me turn this into a Barstool Kart? Let me know down below. If you give me enough yes, I'll do like a weekend throw together, weld it up, make it work, nothing fancy kind of thing. So let me know. And finally, guys, behind me, whoa, ran into a wheelbarrow. As you can tell, I got a mess here. I'm not gonna edit that out. Anyway, the saddest of all stories, my truck back there, it met a guardrail at the end of the fall, I guess, last year. And I was just kind of down on the whole project because it was something I wasn't planning on having to deal with. But my grandpa bought that truck brand new in '96, kept it like pristine. I bought it from him like 10 years ago. Grandpa's still alive. He is not sure that his truck is banged up yet, but he doesn't have the internet, so sorry, Grandpa, if you see this. But anyway, it needs a fender core support, some paint work, some body work, things like that. There's like a body mount bracket that got bent in the front of the frame. I got a bumper, stuff like that. I need to pull it apart, figure out what parts I need, put it back together. This is probably my most pressing project because without my truck, I can't pull my trailer and I can't go get more stuff to make videos to show you guys, because I don't want to leave you hanging, because you guys, you're here to see stuff and I'm here to give it to you. So anyway, the truck, I really want to get that going. My time's limited here. I'm gonna try and start doing like take something apart every day, spend half an hour out here, and if you guys want to see that, I can document the process and throw up a video. The other part of the truck project that I planned on doing is I had just bought a bunch of parts for this thing, and then I stacked it into a wall. But it's a two-wheel drive truck. It looks like a 4x4, I know. It's got 6 lug wheels. It sits up. I did that. I had a camper built out in the back a couple years ago. We didn't use it very much, and I basically didn't want to take the truck off road and ruin it. Ruin the rest of it. So I bought some stuff to drop it. I bought drop spindles and some shackles and spring hangers for the rear leaves. So it should drop, I don't know, 4 inches in the back, 2 in the front. I might cut a half a coil out of the springs if it needs some adjustment, but I didn't want to lose any of the utility of the truck, so I wanted to keep all the stock suspension for like load carrying. So the stock springs in the front and the rear, and then drop it a little bit. And I've got a different set of wheels and tires. Back when I lifted this thing up, I swapped it I swapped it to 6-lug by swapping rotors in the front with a light duty 2500 two-wheel drive rotor, and I used a Z71 4x4 rear end to get a 373 and a limited slip, or the G80 Eaton locker, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you GM truck guys. I'm going back to the original thing. This thing had like a 308 open diff. I want this thing to be good, decent on fuel, but easy to cruise and look cool. Go pick up a project, whatever, nothing heavy duty. If I can't fit it on the trailer, I probably shouldn't be pulling it with the truck. So that's what we're dealing with on the truck. I really want to get this thing back in action. It might not get paint and body work until next winter when I put it up, because I don't drive it in the winter. I'm trying to keep the rust off it because this thing is like clean. If you guys look in the back corner right back here, you'll see another potential longer term project. It's a 1972 Yamaha XS650 that's been hardtailed, and I've got parts to make it into like an old school bobber. Super simple build, simple, clean, like no electric start, just no battery even. Super simple. That's what I want to do with it. I'll throw a picture up so you guys can see like what I'm thinking. Let me know if you guys want to see something with that. It will help me figure out what to do next. And then the last thing I got out here that's potential for video material before we head up to the garage is this little Clinton 3-wheeled lawnmower. A buddy gave this to me as payment for some work I was doing, and we tried to get it running. It didn't really run, but I'd like to do like a restoration, clean it up, like polish it and stuff, but not repaint it or anything. Just like let it be old looking and just make it run and drive and mow maybe. It's got these goofy like vertical handlebars that are kind of cool. It's just a weird little thing. I don't know, I guess I got a thing for 3-wheeled mowers because I got a Swisher over here that I used to use when we lived on a 1/4 acre, but it's a little bit small for this 2-acre deal that we got going on over here. Anyway guys, let's head up to the garage and take a look at the Model A. Alright guys, it's a little dark in here, but I'm up in the house garage and I didn't want to forget the Model A. You can see it behind me right there. I need to do the next step on the Model A. I need to have a little block made for a spacer in the front spring. I need to make an exhaust system. It's probably going to be very simple, just straight pipes, maybe some glass packs or something to tame it down a little bit. The carb needs help. It dumps fuel in. I think the power valve is wrong. Got to tear it apart. Check that out. But Model A, this year I'd really like to have this thing on the road. I got to get the title put in my name from my dad's name. It's actually my grandpa's name. They've both passed away at this point. There's going to be some weird paperwork involved. But I want to get that thing so I can hop in, drive to the ice cream store, because that'll be awesome. Well, that's about all I want to talk about in this video. I just wanted to give you guys a little life update, state of things, the state of the outside union, and get your feedback, because I'd really like to know what you guys want to see. It'll help the channel out a lot, and if I could start generating a little revenue, that would be ideal. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it. Hit subscribe. Stay tuned. Leave a comment. Hit like. All that silly YouTube stuff. Just do it. And then if you guys really, if you could, any of the videos that I made back then, go check it out. If you're curious about one of the projects I've talked about in this video, there's probably a video on it. And if there's not, stick around. If there's a video that you guys liked from back then, share it. Share it with a friend, share it on a page, in a group, whatever. Pertinent stuff. It would help me out a lot, help this thing grow. The more the merrier. You guys rock. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you soon.